I'm Dr. Hulsey at Foundations Chiropractic and Functional Medicine in Corvallis, Oregon. I wanted to take a few minutes today to give a little bit of insight on our upcoming seminar on weight loss. So metabolic weight loss in particular. So there's a lot of diet fads out there that are low calorie or points or food restriction or you name it. So Weight Watchers, Atkins, Jenny Craig, HCG diet is one of the more popular ones. Gluten-free, paleo. I want to shed a little light on how can we actually shed weight when our body is unhealthy. So I want to go through a few of the processes needed for the body to actually utilize calories that we take in and not create inflammation or potential swelling, water retention from it. So this is more than just calorie restriction. We're going to go into some metabolic factors or some physiologic, how your body functions, factors from a weight loss perspective. So there's quite a few things that go into weight loss. So we need to look at thyroid hormones, so a good majority of you out there may be low functioning thyroid. The majority of the time, low functioning thyroid is attributed to an autoimmune condition where your body starts attacking itself. So if our body's attacking our thyroid, which puts out our go signal on all of our cell metabolism, then there's no way that we can properly function and get rid of waste products, digest foods, absorb nutrients. So if thyroid's not functioning correctly, then pretty much nothing is functioning correctly. Another one that's overlooked commonly is, get another color here. Another one that's usually overlooked is insulin resistance, and diabetes, or let's say just blood sugar issues in general. So if we have blood sugar issues, our cells are screaming at, our insulin is screaming at the cells to take up blood sugar. If this isn't happening correctly, then we have excess blood sugar in the bloodstream. So when we have excess blood sugar in the bloodstream, we can hold on to water. This extra swelling can now create pressure on nerves. This pressure on nerves now can give like numbness and tingling. We may not be getting correct signals into the body. When this happens, it's usually from blood sugar ups and downs. We have a lot of carbs in our diet, and we have a huge increase in insulin right after a high carb meal. Now, again, this signal is screaming at the cells to take up blood sugar. If that's not happening, again, we have extra blood sugar. This puts more of a strain on the pancreas, particularly to secrete more insulin. Now it starts yelling more at the cells, hey, take up blood sugar. If blood sugar is not getting into the cells aren't producing cellular energy, what they need to do their function. If it's a stomach cell, it's not producing hydrochloric acid or possibly intrinsic factor to take up B12. If it is a pancreas cell, it may not be producing digestive enzymes. If it's a liver cell, it may not be producing bile to break down fat. So this is a huge issue here. Along with this is cortisol. So cortisol has a tendency to mobilize blood sugar in a time of stress, so our body can utilize it. In our high stress lives right now, everybody has probably screaming levels of cortisol. Over time, the adrenal glands start fatiguing and tapping out. I'm done, I can't produce any more cortisol. So this may cause a blood sugar low. But if we have extreme amounts of cortisol, this is going to cause increased blood sugar from glycogen stores in the liver broken down, from muscle being broken down, as well as fat. Now when this happens, we restore blood sugar as fat, abdominal fat particularly, especially if we don't use that blood sugar. So this is going to cause storage as abdominal fat. Now, another issue, when we have increased abdominal fat, or increased fat in general, this is going to add to insulin resistance. So we can start to see how some of these factors play into each other. Another one we kind of played on already is digestive dysfunction. Now, when we have this digestive dysfunction, let's start from the top. We have the stomach. The food enters the stomach. We'll go back to the high carb issue. If we're eating a lot of carbs, we're not producing hydrochloric acid like we should to digest protein. Now we have extra large food particles entering the small intestine. This will be absorbed into the small intestine. So this can either cause inflammation. Think of this as swelling again. So inflammation and malabsorption of nutrients. So we have decreased absorption of nutrients. What are we going to have to do? We're probably going to have to eat more because our body doesn't feel like it's getting what it needs. So if we're having to eat more, our caloric intake goes up. So usually this is calorie-dense food, starchy food, snacky food, in a box, breads, pastas, crackers, cookies, chips, those type of things, because we're reaching for something that our body is screaming for nutrients. So if this is happening, we have malabsorption of nutrients, we have inflammation in the gut. Now this inflammation can go into the bloodstream and go everywhere. This inflammation can go to the brain. This inflammation can go to different tissues. If it's severe enough, we can start creating an autoimmune reaction. This inflammation goes back to our most common disorder, thyroid hormone dysfunction. So we mentioned at the beginning of this video how the most common thyroid issue is actually autoimmune thyroid. So we have increased inflammation. This starts damaging our own tissue. So now our own tissue can't do what it's supposed to do. If it's thyroid, we're not producing the go signal that we're supposed to. And so we have other hormones that play into this as well. So we have hormones such as estrogen, testosterone. Estrogen is going to cause increased fat storage. Testosterone is going to cause fat to be used as fuel. So if we have altered hormone balance, very common in females is estrogen dominance. Our liver might not be functioning correctly, so in females they're not excreting toxins, they're not processing hormones like they should, so those get recycled into the tissue where they could be stored in fat. Now, another common problem when we start seeing insulin resistance in males, testosterone is converted to estrogen. We just said estrogen promotes fat storage. Also, when we have increased fat, that adds to the insulin resistance type cycle. So we can't just look at how many calories you're taking in, or a point system, or a particular food. I think the best diet or eating plan out there is probably the paleo diet, meats and fruits and vegetables. So we're decreasing the starch, we're decreasing the chemicals that are coming into our body, and now we're decreasing our chance for insulin resistance, diabetes, all of these things downstream. So all of these things need to be looked at. And another thing we need to look at is brain function. So if our brain's not functioning correctly, then this could be setting up a whole slew of issues. We may not be producing, we may not be getting the signal from our brain to our intestines and stomach to produce digestive enzymes. We may not be producing enough signal from our frontal lobe to say, hey, we feel good. So we may turn to food as a form of stress eating. So that there's a lot of different factors that need to be taken into account here. So if we're not taking all of these into account, we're missing the boat. And so again, we can break all these down and look at all of these things. All of these things need to be looked at, but there's particular tests that need to be run to look at each one of these things. So back to digestive dysfunction, we could also have an underlying infection. We could have parasites or bacteria, yeast that shouldn't be there. We could have bacteria that actually take more from our food than they should, so that they are very efficient at processing calories, so that the small amount of food that you eat may look like more to the body. So that there's a multitude of reasons, rather than just low calorie, that your body may be dysfunctioning. So you're probably watching this because you're fed up with the weight management or can't lose weight, but I want to let you know that there is hope. And please join us. If this strikes a chord, please join us on Wednesday night, the January 18th at 6:30. We're going to go, we have a full hour dedicated to this, and we're going to go through how each one of these is going to impact the system a little bit more. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Please give us a call to reserve your seat, 503-349-3024. I'm Dr. Hulsey from Foundations Chiropractic and Functional Medicine in Corvallis, Oregon. Look forward to seeing you.